The Victorian government is spending over $100 million on infrastructure in Melbourne right now. That's not a figure of speech. It's literal. The Metro Tunnel, the Suburban Rail Loop, 110 level crossing removals, the Westgate Tunnel, the Sunshine Superhub, the Airport Rail Link. It's the biggest transformation of Melbourne's transport network in over 40 years. And here's what most investors are missing. There are specific suburbs sitting directly in this path of this infrastructure spend that haven't yet been priced in. While everyone's arguing about whether Melbourne or Brisbane is the better bet, these corridors are quietly building the foundations for the next wave of growth. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 3 infrastructure corridors I think are the most underpriced right now, the specific suburbs within them, and the timeline investors need to understand. Let's go. Before we get into the specific corridors, let me explain why infrastructure is the single most reliable predictor of property value growth. It's not just me saying this. Transport for New South Wales research shows that properties within 800 meters of a new train station see a significant price premium over surrounding areas within 5 years of the station opening. The reason is simple. New transport infrastructure doesn't just save people commuting time. It fundamentally changes who wants to live in an area. It opens up a suburb to a completely new buyer pool. People who previously wouldn't consider living somewhere because the commute was too long suddenly find it accessible. That increased demand against a fixed supply of land pushes prices in one direction, and that's up. And critically, the biggest price movements happen between the announcement and completion of infrastructure. By the time a project is finished and everyone can see the shiny new station, a lot of the growth has already occurred. The investors who do the best are the ones who buy when plans are confirmed, but construction hasn't finished. That's exactly where several Melbourne corridors sit right now. The Metro Tunnel fully opened on the 1st of February 2026. This is the biggest change to Melbourne's rail network since the City Loop opened in 1982. 5 brand new underground stations, Arden, Parkville, State Library, Town Hall, and Anzac, now link the Sunbury line in the northwest directly through to the Cranbourne and Pakenham lines in the southeast. The headline stations, Parkville, State Library, Town Hall, those are already in premium areas. The growth is priced in, but the real opportunity is what the Metro Tunnel has done to the wider network. Here's what most people don't realize. Because the Sunbury, Cranbourne, and Pakenham lines no longer run through the City Loop, the freed up capacity means more services on the Craigieburn and Upfield lines. Trains between Water Gardens and Dandenong now run every 3-4 minutes at peak. The Frankston line has returned to the City Loop for the first time in years. So the suburbs I'm watching in this corridor are the second order beneficiaries. The ones that got a frequency upgrade without a new station. Craigieburn and the suburbs feeding into it. Upfield corridor suburbs like Fawkner, Gowan Brae, Coburg North that now have significantly improved service frequency. And on the southeast side, Cranbourne and Pakenham, which now have a direct high frequency tunnel connection to the CBD. And in the northeast, Sunbury, which now has V-Line and Metro connection to the CBD. But the suburb I think is the most interesting here is the Arden precinct. Arden Station is in North Melbourne, and the area around it is earmarked as a major urban renewal zone. Thousands of new homes, offices, and community facilities over the next 2 decades. Property analysts are already flagging Arden and surrounding suburbs like West Melbourne and Kensington as areas where the new station will drive both residential and commercial demand. John McGrath, McGrath Estate Agent, specifically flagged West Melbourne in his 2026 hotspot picks, noting the Metro Tunnel's proximity and the Westgate Tunnel taking heavy traffic off local streets. This is a small suburb with the right fundamentals for growth. Now, on to the big one. The Suburban Rail Loop is a 90-kilometer orbital rail network that will, for the first time ever, connect Melbourne's middle suburbs to each other without the need of going through the CBD. It's being delivered in stages, and stage 1, SRL East, runs 26 kilometers from Cheltenham to Box Hill. Tunneling starts in 2026 with trains expected to carry passengers by 2035. The new stations along SRL East will be at Cheltenham, Clayton, Monash, Glen Waverley, Burwood, and Box Hill. Now, here's the critical detail that makes this a current investment opportunity, not a future one. Structure plans and planning scheme amendments are for all 6 SRL East stations precincts are expected to be finalized in 2026. That means the rezoning, the density uplift, the planning certainty, it's all being locked in now. This is the moment where the market starts pricing in what these suburbs will become, not just what they are today. Let me break down the suburbs I think are the most interesting along this corridor. Clayton, this is the one I keep coming back to. It's a future transport super hub connecting the Cranbourne and Pakenham line with the SRL. It's already anchored by Monash Medical Centre and is close to Monash University, two massive employment generators. Current median house prices in Clayton are accessible compared to neighbouring suburbs, and the combination of transport infrastructure and employment density is hard to beat. Cheltenham, this is the southern anchor of SRL East. It's already showing signs of gentrification, and the station will dramatically improve its connectivity to education and employment centres across the southeast. Cheltenham is currently more affordable than neighbouring Mentone and Hampton, which gives it a built-in upside as accessibility improves. Box Hill, the northern anchor and already a major activity centre. The new underground SRL station, combined with the existing heavy rail and tram connections, will turn Box Hill into one of Melbourne's most connected suburban hubs. Yes, entry prices are higher here. Medians around $1.3 to $1.5 million for houses. But the infrastructure density is extraordinary. For unit investors, Box Hill also has strong rental demand from students and hospital workers. Glen Waverley and Burwood sit in between and benefit from the same SRL connectivity. Glen Waverley in particular has strong appeal to international buyers and families drawn to the school zones. Melbourne's West has been the quiet achiever for years, but 2026 is the year where the infrastructure story really accelerates. There are 3 overlapping projects reshaping the western suburbs right now. First, the Sunshine Superhub. Sunshine is being transformed into a multimodal transport interchange as an enabling project for the future airport rail link. When complete, Sunshine will connect the metro tunnel lines, the regional V-Line network, and eventually the airport. It's being positioned as the western equivalent of Richmond, a junction suburb where multiple lines converge. Second, the level crossing removals across the Werribee and Melton corridors. A $560 million contract has been awarded for crossing removals in Melton, including a brand new Melton station. This also enables larger 9-car velocity trains on the Melton line. Further south, the Werribee line crossings are being removed to eventually allow it to through run with the Sandringham line. A brand new West Harneet station is also opening in 2026. And third, the broader gentrification trend. Yarraville, Seddon, Footscray have been a gentrification trajectory for years, driven by their proximity to the CBD, cafe culture, and improving transport links. Footscray, in particular, benefits from hospital expansion and university presence. These are suburbs where the 20-minute neighbourhood test is already well and truly past. The specific suburbs I've been researching in this corridor are Sunshine as the infrastructure centerpiece, Footscray, already gentrifying but with further transport upgrades ahead, Yarraville and Seddon, established lifestyle suburbs with strong owner-occupier appeal. And for more affordable options, look at suburbs along the Melton line that are about to see station upgrades and service improvements. The key filter is the same as always. Prioritize established suburbs with scarcity over brand new estates. A weatherboard house on a good block in Sunshine will outperform a brand new house and land package further out in Cobblebank or Aintree over a 10-year hold, even though the entry price is a little higher. Now, the obvious question is timing. The SRL East won't carry passengers until 2035. The airport rail link is even further out. People probably ask me, Sean, how can I wait 10 years? The answer is no, you should not wait, and here's why. The data consistently shows that the majority of infrastructure-driven price growth happens in the planning and construction phase, not after completion. By the time the station opens and everyone can see it's working, the market has already adjusted. Right now, we're at the sweet spot for SRL East. Tunneling contracts have been awarded, structure plans are being finalized, and the market is just beginning to recognize what these suburbs will become. The metro tunnel corridor is slightly different. The project is complete, but the second order effects on network frequency are still being absorbed by the market. And Melbourne's West is in the active construction phase across multiple projects simultaneously, which impact hasn't even been priced in yet. To summarize, Melbourne's infrastructure spend is creating three distinct growth corridors that I think are underpriced right now. The Metro Tunnel Ripple Zone, with suburbs benefiting from the improved frequency across the wider network. The SRL East corridor from Cheltenham to Box Hill, where planning certainty is being locked in this year. And Melbourne's Western transformation, anchored by the Sunshine Superhub and accelerated level crossing removals. The suburbs that will outperform are the ones where infrastructure meets scarcity and existing amenity. Don't just buy near a future station, buy where the neighborhood already works and the infrastructure makes it even better. If you found this useful, hit subscribe. Next up, I'm going to show you why Melbourne units might actually outperform houses in 2026. And it's backed by data from KPMG that most investors haven't seen yet. I'll catch you in the next one.